Hey guys, how's it going? Mark here from Mix It Studios. We're going to look today at a track from a Japanese all-female fronted band called LOVEBITES, and they are a metal band, I know that much. I'm not sure quite where they sit within the metal genre, so that'll be interesting to find out. The session is a live studio session, live from Abyss, so I guess Abyss is the name of the studio. Yeah, the song is called Shadowmaker / Awake Again, unless it's two songs, but I feel like maybe it's a double title judging by the length of the video. I'm not really sure what to expect here, but it's always very cool to see an all-female fronted band, particularly within genres that, you know, are much more male dominated historically. Always very interesting to see how the influences cross over, you know, the UK and the US, which are typically for sort of modern popular music, the main exports of music that we have, that very much dominate the influence of modern music. So it's always very interesting to see the crossover, say, between like Western and Eastern countries, how, yeah, different genres of music influence each other. Japanese bands in particular, quite often there's something very unique to a lot of Japanese bands that you just, you know, sort of besides culture differences and whether or not they're singing in English or their own native language, there's just differences there. I don't quite know how to quantify it. There's differences there that just make a lot of Japanese bands, to me at least, very unique and very enjoyable to listen to, because, you know, you just get something that you wouldn't say from an American or British band within the same sort of similar genres. So yeah, I'm excited to check this out. Thanks for the person that recommended this to me. I'm trying a setup in this video where I've got my Android tablet with a remote viewer bit of software, so I can see the video on my tablet. I kind of realized when I set this up that it's not going to make that much difference anyway, because I'm still not going to be able to look directly at the camera. But yeah, I've got it mounted to my mic stand, so I don't sort of have to turn around to look at the computer screen to see the video. I am mainly focusing on the audio. That's my main thing here. But yeah, I can see the video a bit better now. There does seem to be some delay between the video streaming on here and it playing on my computer, and because I'm listening to the audio from my computer, there's a slight delay between the audio and the video, so I'm not sure how well this will work, but we're going to give it a go. Anyway, yes, this is LOVEBITES, live from Abyss. Let's check this out. Straight away, I'm not a huge fan of those guitar tones. They're okay, they're okay. Oh, that was nice kick sound. Okay. So this is like power metal. Very cool. Interesting. Yeah, power metal wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting really, but I like it so far. Apart from the guitar tones, like, they're absolutely fine. I'm not sort of listening like, oh god, those guitar tones, but I'm not like blown away by them or anything. Works just fine for the music that they're doing, but it is that kind of slightly like artificial sounding, scooped kind of tone where it's just a bit, it's not that like smooth or natural in the upper mids. There is that bite there that I like. Yeah, I don't quite know how to put it into words, but there's just something missing there for me. Otherwise, the drums sound really cool. They seem like great performers, very energetic in their performance so far. One main thing that really sticks out to me, the singer, she's singing in English. It's not like that's uncommon. You have a fair few bands who English isn't their first language, but they still sing in English, or maybe sing. Some bands, you know, they release two separate versions of their music entirely. And this is an interesting point for me. A friend of mine whose band I do sound for a little bit, they had the experience in touring other countries, particularly when they toured around Korea. A few bands that they were touring with, you know, they were singing in English mainly and kind of chatting after shows. They talked about the fact that they had to sing, well, they felt like they had to sing in English in order to be more accessible and more widely relatable. You know, I'd never really thought about it necessarily in those terms before. Well, I just can't really imagine that. I am lucky to be a person who English is my first language in terms of music, in the sense that, you know, the most widely available and universally relatable music in terms of understanding the lyrics and so on, it is in English. So, you know, I don't really have to sort of make any effort in that regard to have access to that. So to be somebody who English isn't your first language, even if it's your second language and say you speak it pretty fluently, yeah, I can't imagine what that must be like, feeling like you have to write in a language other than your own. And for me personally, there are a few bands that I listen to who don't sing in English. Sigur Rós, who most of it is a made-up language, which is an amalgamation of other languages, mainly Icelandic. So for me, I don't necessarily need to understand the lyric. One of my favourite bands ever is Maximum the Hormone, and yeah, I don't understand a word, so I don't need to necessarily. The great thing about music is that it is universal in the sense that it can overcome language barriers in that way, because what it emotes is so much more powerful than that. There's lots of music I enjoy because of the lyrical themes, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily need to be something that I understand. And equally, you know, I enjoy a lot of instrumental music. So, but yeah, it's just an interesting thought that occurred to me hearing this. Yeah, I like this so far. Okay, so there's some track going on there with those string pad kind of sounds. So yeah, nice separation between guitars, even though I'm not a huge fan of the tone. Yeah, nice separation there, very clear distinction between the two guitarists. What's going on with the amps? You've got a Marshall cab, a PV and an orange cab, and then two Kempers, two rack mount Kempers. Yeah, maybe this is why I'm not a huge fan of the guitar tones, because I'm not a huge fan of the sound of Marshall cabinets generally. And same goes for PV. I've heard some like absolutely gorgeous tones through orange cabs, and then I guess like with any cab, you know, you can get a bad tone through any cab if you work hard enough. But yeah, orange, I'm kind of, you know, I'm not neither a fan of or dislike, but Marshall I'm not huge on, and I really don't like PV cabs, but that's just me. Not sure what's on bass, an Ashdown maybe, I'm not sure. And the drums, you have the drummer surrounded by a perspex screen, which helps isolate things a little. Really all that's going to do is just minimize some of the cymbal wash that is going to spill over, particularly into vocal mics. It just helps bounce back some of those first reflections, which can actually, you know, not necessarily be the best thing for the drummer, because yeah, it can be sort of bringing some more of the volume back at them, but equally can also isolate them a bit from the noise of the rest of the band. Yeah, a perspex screen doesn't do a huge amount acoustically, but in terms of a live performance and having the band all in the same space, particularly live on stage, it can bring a lot of benefits in terms of separation. and just avoiding spill into vocal mics and so on. Can't really see much of what's going on miking wise, but you've got 58s on the vocals. I don't think they're betas. I can't really tell from the lighting, but normally the easiest way to spot a beta as opposed to a 58 is the blue band that you've got around the head basket. And then, yeah, the actual body of the mic is a slightly different colour to a 58, more of a bluish colour. It looks like regular 58s. I think I saw some C414s on the guitar cabinets, which is an interesting choice. I mean, they can be great mics on guitar cabs, but not necessarily in terms of a live session. Quite often you'd just go for a dynamic mic in terms of something that's less sensitive and probably going to pick up less of what's around it in the room. But then the C414, you've got multiple selectable pickup patterns, so even though it's a condenser mic and it's more sensitive than a dynamic, depending on what pickup pattern they've got it set to, that could also be quite a good advantage in terms of getting a bit more isolation. And yeah, they can just get a very nice tone miking up a guitar cab with a C414. That's actually if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure I saw some C414s. Yeah, cool song so far. I'm not like super into power metal, but it's one of those genres I don't listen to extensively, but when I hear a song I like, I can really get into it, if that makes sense. Interestingly, I can't tell, the drummer is obviously on ears, and she must be playing to a click in order for that track to work, the playback of that. The rest of them I can't tell because their hair's covering. Oh no, yeah, actually, I couldn't spot them on the other guitarist, but I can see she's wearing them now. Oh wow. Yeah, great vocal range. I wonder what the keys are for. Because nobody's playing them. Oh, nice dual guitar solo. I like that. Japanese bands with singing in English. I don't know quite how to describe it because I'm not a vocal coach. People's voices work differently, and I think over time the way different languages have evolved means that people vocalize very differently. I feel like particularly singing in English and the way the differences in vocalizing are between, you know, Japanese and English, it must be quite hard to be a proficient singer, even when you are a very good singer, singing in English. But she's doing a very good job, and yeah, excellent voice. Very sort of theatrical and operatic, which is absolutely what you want with this genre. Choosing the right mic for a singer, obviously studio, you've probably got more flexibility there because you're not worrying about spill and all of that stuff. But 58s, they're never really like unflattering or flattering. They tend to just kind of work pretty well on most voices. There definitely are some voices when I've been working a live show and I've been using the house mics of the venues and all they've got is 58s, and I get a singer where I'm just like, oh god, yeah, no, I wish I had, you know, whatever mic. So yeah, they're not always the best choice, but typically you can't go too far wrong with a 58 for something live. Certainly doesn't not complement her voice well, but it does seem to kind of complement it quite nicely, which is always nice to hear in a live session, because you don't necessarily have the luxury of using whatever condenser mic you want to use and, you know, matching the voice really well. You're more at the mercy of just making things work within a live setting. Everything is very nicely captured, and the studio is obviously well designed. I can see a fair amount of diffusion going on the paneling on the walls, and it's a fairly open, large space with hardwood floors. Can't see what's going on from the ceiling. It seems like the kind of room where it's not super dead or anything, but just well controlled acoustically. I like the pick guard on the bass guitar. It's kind of cool. Never seen a pick guard like that. There's a lot of non-parallel surfaces I can see as well in the studio here, which is always going to help acoustically. Very cool. Yeah, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the guitar tones, very cool guitar riffs going on. A lot of really nice guitar playing, nice stuff with the solos, particularly with the dual solo licks. Great singer, very operatic vocal, great vocal range, and singing in English very well. Really good drummer, just obviously very good at the genre of music they're making. Some genres have sort of more scope to them in terms of the experimentation you can do, and, you know, approaching things different ways, whereas some genres sort of have almost such a distinct sound and directive that there is kind of less scope there to play with, so it's harder to be original. And that's one thing that I hear with a lot of power metal, where, you know, a lot of bands just can end up sounding a bit generic. One of the more interesting power metal bands I've heard, it definitely didn't feel sort of generic to me. It had a unique energy to it. A lot of what was going on in this song was fairly atypical to the genre, but it just had an energy to it that at least I felt was, you know, pretty unique. It was very cool. It was an enjoyable listen. Nice setup in the room. As I just said towards the end of the video, I kind of clocked some of the ceiling a bit, which you know, wasn't a flat ceiling. It was kind of arched in like that. So whenever you've got less parallel surfaces going on, in terms of dealing with your primary reflections, if you have a flat wall there and a flat wall there, each reflection is just going to bounce back and forth like that until it runs out of energy. Whereas if you have non-parallel surfaces, so, you know, a wall like that and then one like that, it breaks up those reflections a bit and the energy dies out quicker, so potentially less sort of nasty reverberations in the room and flutter echoes and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously, you know, a nicely designed studio, you know, acoustically designed from the ground up, because there are plenty of studios that don't necessarily have that luxury. You know, they've just moved into a space and they have to make do with how the room is and can't necessarily do loads to it structurally. Sometimes that can actually work out, you know, to their benefit. You have studios like, I think it's Sound City with, you know, they have the super famous drum room sound, and that a huge part of that was because of the large amount of brick walls that they had. It just so happened that without them really doing much at all, the acoustics, something was just happening there that actually gave it a really nice liveliness and reverberation to it. So, you know, it can often be luck of the draw. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think with the tablet thing. I felt like I was just kind of looking down half the time. Not like I have to be staring at you the whole time. That might be a bit creepy, but yeah, let me know what you think of that. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like, subscribe, notifications bell, all of that stuff, and I will see you again in the next one.